Today's story is about a young woman named Sophie, who found herself caught in the usual hustle of corporate life. Like most of us, she navigated through the long workdays, balancing tasks and deadlines. But amidst the mundane routine, there was one thing, or rather, one person, who brought a bit of light into her world. Sophie had been working at the same office for almost 2 years. It was a typical corporate environment. Rows of cubicles, the soft buzz of computers, and the constant ding of emails. She enjoyed her job, but there was one person who made her workdays brighter: James. James had joined her department a few months earlier. He was friendly, funny, and always willing to lend a hand. They often ate lunch together, worked on projects as a team, and even shared funny memes during long, boring meetings. Gradually, Sophie found herself falling for him. It wasn't immediate, but over time, with every smile and laugh they shared, her feelings grew stronger. She began to see him as more than just a coworker. He became someone who brought joy and excitement into her life. The little things he did made Sophie feel special. The way he laughed at her jokes, the way he lightly touched her shoulder when they spoke, and the way his eyes seemed to sparkle when they had a conversation. All of it made her think there could be something more between them. Sophie felt a connection, a deep one she hadn't felt in years. She even started daydreaming about what their future together might look like. There were moments where Sophie caught herself imagining that James might feel the same way about her. He brought her coffee one morning, complimented her work, and even asked about her weekend plans. Every small action felt like a sign that maybe, just maybe, he was interested in her too. As they spent more time together, Sophie became convinced that James was the one. The butterflies in her stomach grew stronger every time they were together, and eventually she decided she couldn't keep her feelings to herself any longer. She practiced what she would say, rehearsing in front of the mirror for days, imagining the perfect outcome. Sophie believed that maybe James felt the same way, and she was ready to find out. Finally, the day came. Sophie had decided to tell James how she felt after work, once the office had emptied out. As she approached his desk, her heart raced and her hands felt clammy. But just as she was about to speak, something caught her eye. James's phone lit up with a message, showing a picture of a beautiful woman. Sophie froze. James had never mentioned anyone special in his life, so she tried to brush it off, thinking it couldn't be important. But then, her eyes darted back to his phone. The message read, "Can't wait to see you tonight, love." Her heart dropped, her stomach tightened, and a cold feeling spread through her chest. At that moment, James looked up and saw her standing there. He greeted her with his usual warm smile, completely unaware of the emotions storming inside her. "Hey, Sophie, you okay?" he asked, his tone full of concern. Sophie swallowed, trying to steady her voice. "Yeah, I'm fine. I just wanted to ask you something." But the words she had rehearsed so many times wouldn't come out. Her throat felt dry, and all the confidence she had built up disappeared in an instant. She couldn't confess her feelings, not after what she had just seen. Instead, she forced a smile and asked, "Do you have any plans tonight?" James nodded, smiling brightly. "Yeah, actually, I'm going out for dinner with my girlfriend, Emma. I've been meaning to tell you about her, but things have been so busy at work. She's amazing. I think you'd like her." Every word felt like a knife in Sophie's heart, each one cutting deeper than the last. She could feel herself breaking inside, but she knew she couldn't let it show. "That's great, James," she whispered, her voice barely loud enough to hear. "I hope you have a good time." James beamed, completely unaware of the pain he had just caused her. "Thanks. Maybe you can meet her sometime. I think you'd really get along." Sophie nodded weakly, excusing herself as quickly as possible. She hurried out of the office, her vision becoming blurry as she fought back tears. She had been so hopeful, so convinced that James might feel the same way, but in that moment, the reality hit her hard. As Sophie reached her car, the tears she had been holding back finally fell. She sat in the driver's seat, her body trembling from the intensity of her heartbreak. She had created this fantasy in her head, building up hopes and dreams, only for it all to come crashing down in the most painful way. The weight of unrequited love pressed down on her, making it hard to breathe. The worst part? She realized James had never done anything to suggest he felt more than friendship for her. It had all been in her mind. Every smile, every laugh, every shared moment. None of it meant what she thought it did. To James, she was just a colleague. Nothing more. Sitting in her car, Sophie let the tears flow freely. Her chest tightened as she thought about all the possibilities that would never come true. She wanted to scream, to shout at the unfairness of it all. How could the universe be so cruel, letting her fall so deeply for someone who was never hers? The harsh truth was clear. James had a girlfriend, and Sophie was left with nothing but the aching emptiness of a love that would never be returned. It was the kind of sadness that settled deep in her bones, a heavy, relentless pain that wouldn't go away. Even worse, she had to face James every day at work. She had to smile, work alongside him, and pretend everything was normal, all while her heart broke a little more each time he mentioned Emma. There was no escaping it. Sophie had fallen for a man who would never fall for her. In that painful moment, Sophie understood that love wasn't always like the fairy tales or romantic movies. Sometimes, love didn't come with a happy ending. Sometimes, love just hurt. And that was the story of Sophie and her unlucky love. If you enjoyed this tale, make sure to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more such amazing stories. Do you have a story of your own that you'd like to see featured in one of our videos? Drop it in the comments below and we'll try to bring it to life in an upcoming video. Thanks for watching.